What is up, guys? We are live. Mountaineer Paul's here. This is another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. An overdue session for Mountaineer Paul Talks Football as basketball has continued to dominate my content creation. And still yet, more and more basketball content continues to come out. Welcome to the show, guys. Glad to have you back for another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. It's dreary outside. Hopefully it's not going to be dreary in the West Virginia aspect of things, because I'm expecting some news to come down on one of the two subjects, basketball or football, pretty soon. What's up, Sasquatch? What's up, Timothy Green? Thank you guys for showing up for this. I don't have a ton this episode. We've had a lot of movement on the football side. Obviously, few commitments here in the last 24 to 30 hours or so, and some really good players. We've had a punter, an offensive lineman, an athlete that'll probably play in the defensive backfield. Although I think he'd make a case he could play on offense, in Zah Jennings. And can everybody hear me okay before we keep going? Is it messed up at all? I would love to know that, because God forbid these headphones screw up on me again. It ruined one of my last videos, unfortunately. Let me know down below really quick, guys. Let me know. Just let me know you guys can hear me okay, so I know to keep going. What's up, Jacob Yoho? Sounds great. Awesome. So obviously this is more about, to me anyways, and look, guys, there's some speculation to this. You guys know that if I've got real info, I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to tell you that it's a legit shot or it's not. In this case, Robby Martin is an absolute stud. He's a four-star guy, four-star offensive lineman out of Huntington High School, just right down the road from me here in Huntington, West Virginia. And he's a kid that can really play, and unfortunately, he signed with NC State. So yesterday, Zah Jennings committed, the athlete out of Huntington High School, and I have an article to read about that. But before I do, let's get this Dutch Miller thing read and done. This episode of Dutch Miller Automotive, this episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com, or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. Okay, so on the football front, there's an article from, I believe this is West Virginia Sports Now. It says, top-ranked recruit in West Virginia stays home, commits to WVU. Neil Brown has made it a priority to keep the top athletes in West Virginia home, and that's exactly what he's done with Zah Jackson. Jackson, a 5'10", 180-pound three-star quarterback from Huntington in Huntington, West Virginia, officially committed to West Virginia Thursday night, announcing his decision on Instagram with 304 committed. Jackson committed to WVU over a list of finalists that included Liberty, Mississippi State, North Carolina State, initial offers from Akron, Appalachian State, Bowling Green, Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, Kent State, Marshall, and Toledo. So he was congratulated by the one and only Robby Martin on that same social media platform. And I saw, I want to say Huddy Tuddy shared this earlier, so I took a screenshot because I thought it was interesting. This is a little bit smaller, but that's Robby Martin telling Zah, hey, proud of you, my brother. I'm behind you every step of the way, my brother. And then somebody said, you should have stayed home too. And he replied, ain't too late. And that's not a surprise to those in the know. Apparently this is a kid that really enjoys the recruiting process, apparently, and certainly doesn't mind the attention. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. At the end of the day, these kids have to look at themselves like they have a brand. And I think the coaches all anticipate that at some point in time, whether now or through the transfer portal, that Robby will be in Morgantown. Now, I haven't heard that from a coach, but I've heard that from sources. So I think that's interesting. And what an addition he would be to an offensive line room that's really strong. And you think about, we could keep this thing all West Virginia guys, and just this tradition of all West Virginia offensive lines, or a lot of the guys from West Virginia on the O-line, especially with Xavier Bosley transferring in this past year, for this year. And then, you get a guy like Robby Martin. Wyatt's still here for now. So, yeah, to me, that'd be cool, and I'd love to see it. I've reached out to him for comment. Unfortunately, I didn't find out about all this until, I scheduled this video for right about after that. So, at the end of the day, how likely is it? I'd say it's 50-50, and I'll let you guys know after I talk with Robby, and as long as he lets me make it public, I'll definitely be public about it. But a lot of times in these situations, he's probably going to, if it is something like, if there is some wood on that fire, he's probably going to have me hold off on it, which is par for the course usually. All the good stuff, usually never get to talk about. But getting to some comments here. Appreciate you guys for being in here. Don Johnson, what's up, brother? Sasquatch, what's up? Simo, Timothy Green, Earth Ether, Shaggy of West Virginia, all the usual suspects. Shaggy said, glad to see us getting some more kids from Cabell County. We have the kid from Cabell Midland that is going to play linebacker for us. He was a good running back in Midland. Yeah, he was a good player. I'm excited to see him too, Shaggy, no doubt. Timothy said it's very possible that Robby could come to Morgantown. I would 100% agree, man. It's 50-50 shot. I think, that's a good university there. NC State, you got Gibby there. Obviously, he played an integral part in that happening, I'm sure. It is what it is, So, Gibby's going to, there's this case to be made that Gibby should be head coach in Morgantown right now, but he's not, I'm glad Neil's there the way things are going, obviously. Not saying that. Just, Gibby, he's earned his shot, man. Somebody needs to give that man a head coaching job and see where it goes. Earth Ether has a basketball and a smiley face. Yeah. It's actually been a little bit, I think we all had this initial high. And this is my football channel, but I don't give a damn. I'll talk about basketball too. If you guys have basketball questions, send them through. If you want to hit that super chat button, I'll always accept that. If you don't know, I do this full time. This is what I do for a living. So, but at the end of the day, if it hadn't have been for me and Coos working so good together, I'd have my own basketball channel. But people always told us we did so good together, and we decided to do a channel together. And as you guys know, it's worked out really well. So, Earth Ether, nothing positive, man. We've got a lot of Earth Ether said. Just wondering if you've heard anything. On the player front, they're working on it, and they're short-staffed. That's the problem at the moment. Tom Ostrom was hired by Byington staff. Which was a little bit of a shocker to some. I think most people thought he would follow Darren DeVries to Morgantown. He did not. And then Marty Richter, who was his other right-hand man that performed all that success at Drake, apparently is in the head coach for USC Upstate. So, it looks like he's probably going to get that job. So, unfortunately, he's not. You can't pass the opportunity to be a head coach up. So, looks like that's what's going to happen here. Good for him, but unfortunately, it leaves Darren DeVries a little bit crippled, right, as to what has been successful in the past. You have Nick Norton, who was on that staff and played at Drake. Oops, sorry. But unfortunately, we are where we are with it. I wish I could report more better, but I think it's putting a hamper on several different things. The Drake recruits possibly coming to Morgantown, it's going to hurt that. I don't know that to be sure, but my gut says that. Um, and then just the continuity that that staff had, and that especially the success they had, 6 years of 20 or more wins is pretty damn impressive. And it's not a surprise that people wanted them. That staff. It's not a surprise, but at the end of the day, what I was talking about with somebody last night is we know West Virginia is not for everybody, guys. Morgantown is not for everybody. And even though we lived an hour away from a big metropolitan area, unfortunately, we are where we are in West Virginia, and people have their stigmas about it. And look, Nashville, Tom Ostrom went to play, coach there in Vanderbilt for probably the same money or similar. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, that's to me, I get it. You want to go live in Nashville, that's a cool city. I get it. You want to go live in Ann Arbor, I guess, or Richter and USC upstate, go ahead. We won't get them all, but why would you not go to WVU? Certainly make the league playing here. Right, I get that, Don. I'm not really sure the answer to that, man. I guess these days the visibility is so high, you can make the league from Drake. Now it's not the competition isn't as good, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. I think Frank Young, that wouldn't be bad. Timothy Green, he asked the question. So, do you think there's any chance he could keep any of West Virginia's current staff? I don't know. I don't even know if Coach DeVries knows yet. I think they're still going through that process. I was told that they're being denied or having trouble getting second, third, and fourth assistants on Power 5 teams to come to West Virginia, and that he is kind of finding out that this is not an easy job to recruit at or to get people to come work at. Now, I don't think, I mean, look, and this person told me that it was a good job because Bob Huggins was there. That's what made it a good job. But I don't necessarily agree with all that. I just think there are competitive jobs out there. There were openings out there right now, just like the Arkansas job just came open. That's a great job too. And if you've got a chance to live in Fayetteville or Morgantown, maybe you want to live in Arkansas. I just think if the money's the same, then location matters a lot. And I don't know if they're equipped to overpay or what here, but like Shaggy says here, if you're an outsider, it's hard to choose Morgantown, West Virginia over other places that have better weather and more things to do. And that's really just what it comes down to, guys. It's unfortunate, but I do think we can only, I think he's going to get a good staff because he's got the money to do it. I don't see, it's not like there's a limited number of guys that can coach out there. There may be a limited number of guys he knows personally that he trusts that can coach, and then there may be an adjustment process staff-wise, and that's not what you want. But looks like that's the position we're in. We were hoping to get three of the guys, or two plus Darren equals three. Three of the guys from Drake, Darren, and two assistants, and then fill in with the other assistants. Richter's not coming. It looks like, at least that is the last update. Maybe somebody else can check, but the last I looked, he was the finalist for the USC Upstate job. So if that's the case, that's where we are. No problem. What's up, Coos? There'll be coaches, our teacher says, but will it be in time? We need to get recruiting moving. I agree. Weather won't matter when we win. I agree. Coos said, I mean, Beeline was able to find a staff. Brown doesn't seem to have an issue finding coaches. I don't buy that it's hard. Well, I mean, but it is to an extent, you know, whenever there are competing jobs out there. I mean, is it the worst thing in the world to come coach in Morgantown for a few years, or uh, if it's a lateral move, because what they were trying to do was outside the Drake guys who were ready for the move up to Power Five anyway, was to get a couple Power Five assistants, from what I understand, and it's just really hard to. That's the part that's hard, Coos. It's not so hard to get just any coach to come to Morgantown. It's to get a Power Five assistant to come to West Virginia, you know, and leave a Power Five job, maybe in a better place in the country, you know, maybe South Carolina or North Carolina or somewhere by the coast. Um, you know, but I'm sure there are guys. They're going to listen. They're going to land some guys. It's just, I think, you know, I have the tendency to overreact to stuff like this and think the worst. So I'm sure that it's going to be fine. Um, I heard the name Fulford come up, who was the Huntington Prep coach at one point in time, and he has been almost hired at West Virginia. Like I can't count how many times over the years. Now the Huntington Prep thing could be big, right? Uh, but I don't know how. You know, that's been like 6, 7 years since he's been there, and I don't know what the connection is to there anymore, if any. So there's a lot of what ifs going on. Yeah, appreciate that, Timothy. Everybody like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, brother. I do. I wonder if the whole Huggins debacle left a sour taste in some coaches' mouths. Well, yeah, and you got to think Huggins knows a lot of a lot of guys, a lot of coaches, and a lot of assistants, like 50 years worth or whatever it is. So there are some guys out of loyalty to Hugs that probably won't come, but that's still only a select number compared to what's available. The way I look at it is if you can't get proven guys from the Power Five level, like Coos says here, I'm cool with promoting mid-major guys. They will be hungry. Yeah, but then I'm with you on this. My worry is obviously there's no experience there. Power Five, none. You know that means looking at a Power Five roster from top to bottom and seeing what that looks like over the course of 6, 8, or 10 years, and seeing what it looks like because it would have a different athletic, the combination of what it looks like when you have a successful team. You can see it on the court, and I think it takes a trained eye to see that until you learn it. But again, I overthink this stuff. I get that too, but I'm okay with promoting some mid-major guys. I was just hoping to have one or two Power Five guys on the roster to help DeVries kind of get maybe on par with that, and also just where are these guys' recruiting areas going to be if you're just having to look anywhere? Doesn't even matter in the portal area anyway. It's wild, man. Kenny Evans, what's up? Thanks for the comment. Brown has done great getting in-state players. Holgerson said West Virginia didn't have good players and saying Holgerson could be like Pitt and eat shit. Yeah. Uh, yeah, that wasn't his thing really. I mean, there was a couple players that he swung and missed on because there was no relationships. Coach Brown certainly believes, at least on the offensive and defensive lines and in some of the skill positions in looking at West Virginia. Uh, so, there was relationships there. I mean, you're right though. The Holgerson thing, it kind of stalled us on stuff like that. But back to the Robby Martin thing, I really do think it would be huge to get him. I really do. If you're new or just now getting in here, guys, the main topic of conversation before we got off on basketball, it's just it's what's on everybody's mind right now. Obviously, if Martin had actually flipped to West Virginia, that would be huge news in football, and we probably wouldn't jump off of that. But in this situation, it's like we're trying to build some time in here. There's almost only so much you can say about it. But Robby Martin, who was teammates on the Huntington High team with Zah Jennings, he pretty supportive of him, right? And so I caught the screenshot from Huddy Tuddy. He shared it, today or yesterday or one of the times. But Zah Jennings is a 3-star athlete, obviously out of Huntington. Robby Martin, a 4-star offensive lineman out of Huntington, now at NC State. And he shared this: "Proud of you, my brother. I'm behind you all the way. Every step of the way, my brother. It's really small for me." And then Mountaineers report said, "Robby Martin, you should have stayed home too." And then he said, "It ain't too late." So, and it's not too late. That's the thing. It's not too late. I do give this as high as a 50-50 chance of happening. This is an elite prospect as you're going to get in the state of West Virginia. He earns every bit of that 4-star billing, and he's a bulldozer. Super athletic kid with the basketball background. Um, you know, watching him on film, he really reminds me of Wyatt in a lot of ways. He's really, really fleet of foot. He's got extremely long arms. Once he latches onto somebody, he's able to control him. He doesn't really have any bad weight. By bad weight, I mean he doesn't get off balance a lot because of some guys are top heavy. Some guys are pencil legged. He's not. This kid carries it well, and he's sturdy with it. He is still pretty raw from a technique standpoint, from what I've seen, but especially he gets caught with his head down a lot. Loses leverage, but he's so good. He'll get better coaching outside of Huntington High. No offense to the Highlanders, especially at NC State or West Virginia. But so I think that's interesting, though, and certainly, like I said, my source told me, listen, he loves being recruited. He loves the attention it brings, and trying to build his brand with it. So, like I said, I don't throw shade at kids for doing that these days. It is what it is. Maybe some others do. That's not my job to do. Coos said, "Don't be surprised if he transfers to WVU." So yeah, that's something. Something a lot of people have said too. And my source also said later down the line, actually, the coaches kind of expect it. They're actually even thinking that's probably what'll happen later down the line. And kids want to play early these days. Maybe he's got the shot to play earlier at NC State than West Virginia because look, we're pretty solid on the offensive line, and for a freshman to play, is he? It would take a lot, and it may be bad, and maybe take some bad things to happen. So we don't want that. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat, Shaggy of West Virginia. He said, "I just want to repeat what Kenny said. Eat shit, put." Love it. Timothy Green, well, if we're all going to do eat shit pit, play Let's Go Mountaineers. Yeah, absolutely. Portal window will be open on April 16th, I believe. Thanks, Coos. Jacob Yoho said, "I can't wait for the Penn State game." I'm with you, my dude. That's a game that it's at home. We're going to have a shot, much better shot than last year. Although this team would be I think, be in a better position to go on the road and win. But That's to me when I think about this year's team. Not to get off your Penn State comment, but when I think of this year's team, I do believe the road schedule is going to define this season. And unfortunately, Brown is he's not just under 500 on the road, guys. At West Virginia, he's like I don't even know what you. I mean, it's like really bad. It's really really bad. Like he might be 20 games under five. It's not that many, but it's probably close. He's probably like 12, 13, 14, 15 games under 500 at West Virginia on the road. It's just not happened. Uh, it almost, it only happened a couple times last year. So that's the thing, in my opinion, when I look at this team, that's the thing that needs to get fixed the most. And the more years that go by and the more times we struggle on the road, I seem to wonder, like, is it just baked into the travel that we're just at that big of a disadvantage? Because once you get a large enough sample size, you start to wonder, like, maybe it's just something about the travel. I don't want to make excuses, but I don't know. Have any of you thought that, like, maybe it's the travel that just puts us at enough disadvantage that they haven't found a secret sauce, how, whatever that may be, to make us competitive on the road. Certainly, gosh, my camera almost went off on me here. Uh, Certainly, the teams on the East Coast getting brought into the Big 12 helps, which is why we should never not play UCF and Cincinnati in any given year. I mean, that's just to me. I don't. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. Uh, but it didn't happen this year, or it did happen this past year. We're pretty set, Timothy. I think those are two of our strongest, if not our strongest groups on both sides of the ball as far as depth goes. We've got depth. I think we go 7, 8 deep on the offensive line. I'm talking about guys that can play, especially if Xavier Bosley uh, gets into the swing of things. He's already got a season of Division One football under his belt, and we fight Nick Malone for that spot, and maybe even the other kid, the big right tackle. So we'll see. Jacob Yoho said, "I think Brown is going to get even for what he did to us last year. For what Penn State? I'm guessing you're thinking here, brother. Brown is 10-18 on the road, so there it is. Feels worse. It honestly feels worse, Zach. But I appreciate that information. Uh, that's a bad record. It's not as bad as I thought, though. So, um, I mean, I said 12, 13, 14, something like that. But 8 is still pretty bad. 8 games under 500 on the road is bad. You'd like that to be flip flopped, right? 18-10. That's probably more along the lines of what you would hope it would be. Just being reasonable. I mean, God, you'd love for him to be uh, 20-8 or something like that. But um, I could live with 18-10 at least. That gives you the room for the occasional 10-win season. That gives you room for the occasional maybe even 11-win season. But uh, something's got to change this year, guys. If there's no winning on the road this year, I'm going to assume that there's something majorly wrong. So I don't want to be negative, but it's like it's like there's a Mount Rushmore of things I worry about this year. Winning on the road is on that Mount Rushmore. Kenny Evans with an awesome comment. He said, "Gold Blue Dude would have a ball with all this stuff going on right now. Rest in peace." Absolutely, I agree. Ray Ellison, thank you for the comment. He said, "I'm optimistic about having a good linebacker room. We haven't really had that. You know, we've had good players at linebacker, but we haven't had a great room. Gosh, probably since 2010. You know, uh, like an entire room that was great. We've had, I mean, that was one of the strengths of our team there for such a long time. And then we've had good players in and out, like we've had Kwiatkowski at a certain point in time, or um, whether it's Dion Long Jr. or any of those guys that have come through the last couple of years. The kid that transferred in from Arizona slips my mind at the moment, that plays for the Browns, but he was an incredible player, just a super stud athlete at linebacker. I'm sure somebody will remind me here in a second. It's hard to remember everything all at once when you're on live like this, um, but now we're set. We've got basically we're going to be playing with two outside linebackers and a guy in the middle, and let's roll. And I think people are fitted to their positions where they naturally fit. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be so fun to watch Trey Lathan run around this year, guys, especially in a position that I personally think he is suited for. I think he's going to have a breakout year. As long as he stays healthy, Trey Lathan is going to be a stud for us. I'm excited about that, too. Oh, yeah, running up the score on us. Yeah, I remember that, Jacob. That late touchdown. He did that to a lot of people last year, by the way. Franklin did. Fortunately, 7 of the 12 games are at home. That's a great point, Coos. You hear that lineman talk about Trotter? He is supposedly flying around and shredded. Yeah, man. Yep. That's not a surprise. You know, this is a guy that his dad is literally one of the greatest linebackers of the last 30 years. Um, I mean, I think it was so good there in Philly for a long time. And who better to learn it from than your dad, and your brother who played at Clemson at a really high level and was an All American there. So uh, he's got the pedigree. I was honestly shocked when he chose us, to be honest. It seemed like that would. We don't really get kids like that. The NFL did with the NFL like superstar dad, and Josiah's got that. And he's a really quiet worker, from what we understand. He's not a vocal leader, but he's still young, so he's still coming on. Like they said, most people in the room, and you guys remember how good Trey Lathan was last year. I mean, took everybody by surprise. Remember, West Virginia was trying in the portal to get a will linebacker, the kid from Florida State that went to North Carolina. Like they were trying to get a will linebacker all the way up until the summer. And so I don't know if they just didn't see it, or if they thought Trey Lathan was too young, or what, or maybe it was they wanted him for depth. But Trey ended up being such a surprise to a lot of us last year, and he ended up being at points really the first 4 games maybe the best player on our defense until he was injured. So and yet still people said that Josiah Trotter was the best linebacker in camp last year. So that gives you a lot of hope, right? Those two guys are our outside linebackers. What? Like I really have a lot of hope for our linebacking unit, and I'm going to be curious to see who wins in the middle. Is it Ben Cutter? Is it the Ohio State transfer? It'll be interesting to see. But I think we're going to be studs on the linebacker spots. And once they get it, I worry about the first couple games, with the new positions and the defense changing a little bit. But from all accounts, intents and purposes, our defense won flat out handily in a couple practices already this year. Joseph and Holland, the Northwestern transfers, are absolutely dominating in practice. Uh, well, Hollis is. I don't know as much as Joseph is or not. But Montre Miller got, oh, by the way, Montre Miller got his extension today. He is officially in the fold, which was a 4-star transfer, if you don't remember, from Toledo, guys. And I'm super excited about that, too. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate that, brother. Koo said there'll be starter caliber players on the bench, and he was before that, he was talking about the linebacker depth. They'll do wonder for special teams as well. I agree, brother. Shaggy in West Virginia, this team has the talent to win all 7 home games this year. No doubt about it. Listen, we've been great at home. Ray Ellison said Ben Cutter's going to take a step too, I bet. Yeah, he was playing a little out of position last year, and he's really suited for the middle. Ben Cutter is as in the box a linebacker. If you could draw one up, that's what you draw up as a guy like Ben Cutter. He's just not your sideline to sideline kind of guy. He's not. I wouldn't say he's slow, but he's not fast. And coverage really ain't his thing either. But he's not terrible at it. It's something he can get better at. But inside the box and playing the run, he does it very well. And I think that's where he's going to succeed for us in the box in the middle. And I think there'll be a place for him for sure. I really do. And if he gets, another thing is he needs to get a little bit bigger. I mean, he was muscular, but his frame needs to fill out a little more. So I think, Ben, and they say he's one of the hardest workers on the team. So don't be surprised if Ben Cutter doesn't take that big jump, Ray or Roy. Coos agrees. He said he may not even, and Ray maybe. I agree, Roy, and he may not even start. That's how good our linebackers could be. Yeah, agreed. So, Timothy agreed. Said it's a lot to ask, but he would love to see us go 10-2 this year. If not better. I think we have earned it, guys, as West Virginia fans, with what we've gone through in football the last 4 years, compared to our history and what we're used to. Remember, averaged almost 8 wins a year for like the first 15 or 16 years of the 2000s. So, what we've gone into the first 4 years, and then this basketball season really tore us all up, We're due. We're due. And I'm tired of people saying we haven't won the Big 12. Let's change that too. And listen, we control a lot of that these days financially with what we give and how we support the team. Jacob Yoho said, I think we'll have a Kansas City Chiefs offense. Appreciate that, man. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for jumping on here with me this evening. I don't have really have a whole lot else to talk about. I know you guys are all still in here pretty deep and everything, but I have a couple of things I have to do tonight, or I'd stay on longer. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share the video out if you can for me on the social media. And what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, yeah. Hit that thumbs up button, Simo. Sorry I haven't made more content on here lately, guys. I had those storms come through, and I haven't really talked about this. Coos knows. I had a storm come through, and it was rough. My roof was all jacked up. A tree went in. So, this is only my second day home. I had to move out for a couple of days, but we're good. We're back. So, I'd stay on longer, but I just want to rest. I was away from home for a few days. And I thought about not even doing a video tonight. And I hadn't done any content in so long, and I'm like, I love this channel, guys. I love this football channel, and I want to keep it. So, I got to make content where I can. And this was a good opportunity. So, thank you guys all for the support. Like I said, don't forget to like the video and subscribe and all that jazz. But most of all, just thank you for being Mountaineer fans and supportive. And then share this thing if you can, like I said. Hope you enjoyed the video, y'all. I'm going to go relax for the rest of the day and eat some steak for dinner. Hope you guys do the same. I'll talk to you next time. This episode is over. I'm out.